Hey there, Louisiana estate planning attorney Paul Rabley here, and in this video we're going to talk about how much tax will the state of Louisiana collect from the estate of someone who recently passed away. All right, this one's pretty easy to answer. A lot of confusion out there about what taxes are due on someone's estate when they pass away. So some people get confused thinking the state collects this federal estate tax. Before I get into what the state does, let's talk about at the federal level. Federal level means regardless of which state you live in the United States, the federal estate tax applies to you. It's collected by the IRS. It's a federal tax. It really only applies to the wealthier folks because every estate has this $11.7 million estate tax exemption. It gets adjusted each year for inflation, so it goes up a little bit each year. By the way, scheduled to come back to about $6 million in 2026 for people who pass away that year or thereafter. So anyway, most estates aren't subject to that federal estate tax. That's not just a Louisiana thing. That applies wherever you live in the United States. What does the state of Louisiana do? Well, a few states, maybe a handful, maybe 5 or 6. If you live in one of those handful of states that does have its own inheritance tax, estate tax, death tax, then there's going to be an extra tax payable to that state, but Louisiana is not one of them. Another great reason why you should live in Louisiana: no inheritance tax. Now, we used to have one. Some of you who had parents or grandparents pass away 20 years ago or so, you may remember paying the state of Louisiana or the Department of Revenue some state inheritance tax. And we had that, but it went away in the year 2004. Before then, when someone who lived in Louisiana died, you had to calculate who their estate was going to and how much each heir was inheriting. And based on the relationship between the person who died and the person who inherited, the rates were varied anywhere from 3 to 10%, but all that went away. And we used to have to pay that tax before a judge, and the probate or the succession would allow for assets to be transferred to the heirs. But all that went away. We don't have a Louisiana inheritance tax anymore. The whole inheritance tax department and the Department of Revenue vanished. And so now, like I said, fortunately, we're one of those states who doesn't have an inheritance tax. Not only a great reason to live here, but a great reason to retire here. I do remember a few folks, leaving the state because they didn't want their heirs to incur that inheritance tax. Whether that was worth it or not remains to be seen. But be proud, state of Louisiana, no inheritance tax. Some states call it a death tax. Some call it an estate tax. Some states call it an inheritance tax. Be aware that we still have the federal estate tax, but here in Louisiana we have no Louisiana inheritance tax. Congratulations. We'll see you next time. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you.